Welcome to Chapter 2 of Deadly Manners. Before we begin our program, Kristen, if you were trapped on a desert island, what would be the first thing you'd bring?
Okay, listen, MeUndies are the softest, most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear, period. Every pair of MeUndies is sustainably sourced and made from micromodal, a fabric that's 3 times softer than cotton. If you're used to buying boring underwear, MeUndies is gonna change everything. You have to feel for yourself why MeUndies has sold over 5 million pairs to date. That's 10 million butt cheeks. And if you don't love your first pair of MeUndies, they're free. For a limited time, get 20% off your first pair plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/deadly. That's MeUndies.com/deadly.
TheBlackTux.com offers high-quality rental suits and tuxedos delivered to your doorstep. It's giving you guys a new way to rent. And get this, The Black Tux offers free home try-on so you can see it, feel it, and get into the quality of your suit before the event.
And the best part is it's completely done online, so no trips to the tux shop required. TheBlackTux.com lets you create your look or choose from tons of stylist-selected outfits starting at just $95. I'm telling you guys, this is just the way to go. After ordering, your suit will arrive 14 days before your event. That's a full 2 weeks to try it on, make sure everything fits, and if anything is less than perfect, the Black Tux will send you a free replacement right away. When your event's over, just drop your rental back in the mail. Shipping is free both ways, I want to add. How easy is that? To get started now, go to TheBlackTux.com/deadly and get $20 off your first order. Experience a new way to rent. It's TheBlackTux.com/deadly.
The guests gasped at the gory scene before them. Joseph Feinstein's still warm body was face down on the carpet, the blood from the blunt trauma to his head barely absorbed into the fibers. Veronica's eyes darted between the newly dead man lying in her billiards room and the faces of her frightened guests.
Joseph! Oh my God, my Joseph, Oh God, who did this?
Esther spun to face the crowd.
Which one of you is doing this? Why?
Esther, I'm so sorry. Everyone saw where I kept the key. I didn't think. I didn't know. It could have been anyone.
Ha! Anyone with your candelabra.
Excuse me?
You were the last one seen holding the damn thing, and now this guy's got a dent in his head from it.
Wait! The magician's body. It's gone.
Everyone surveyed the space where there once were 2 bodies, seeing that now only one remained. A blot of blood was the only evidence it was ever there.
Told you he was tricky.
I will not spend 1 more minute in this slaughterhouse.
Nancy tried to pacify her husband.
Roger!
But Roger pushed past her and headed down the hallway towards the back doors. He grabbed them with great gusto and tried to yank them open. But they too were frozen shut.
Damn it! Don't you have another way out of here?
My word, Veronica, haven't seen people so desperate to leave a party since Zero Mostel introduced Naked Sundays.
The familiar voice stopped Veronica in her step. It was none other than Barbra DuPont, an old socialite friend. She wore an alabaster lace gown shrouded by an oversized fur coat, which she always refused to take off.
Listen, everyone, it's still snowing like mad out there. The cars are buried. The roads are likely closed. And even if you could leave, what kind of host would I be if I let you?
What kind of host would she be if she kept us here?
Although perhaps friend was too strong of a word.
We have a duty to obtain justice for our fallen man, which means nobody should even try leaving until the police come.
And if you do, any of you, I'll tell the police you did it! You hear me? I'll tell the police you did it!
And you people claim you're the scapegoats. Typical.
Roger!
You! Senator Clark, you hated my husband! How do we know you're not the one who did it?
Esther!
A lion does not concern himself with the matters of a fly.
So my husband was what? just a bug to you?
And what was he to you? You're the one who abandoned him in there.
Now wait a minute!
I mean, what kind of wife would do that to her husband?
Veronica could feel the party slipping through her fingers. She locked eyes with Barbra, who smiled smugly as she sipped her drink. Veronica emptied out a nearby tin bowl of potpourri and banged a big sterling silver spoon upon it.
Everyone just settle down! We're all on the edge right now, and as difficult as it may be, the only thing we can really do right now is make the best of it.
Maybe that's all you can do.
Roger picked up a small marble statue and made for the window. He cocked his arm back, ready to throw, and he was stopped cold by the furtive Butler.
Might I suggest, sir, that we don't invite the weather outside to the party?
You better take your hands off me!
And you better take your hands off that.
The butler tore the statue from Roger's grasp and set it down on the mantel.
Billings, is this how you let the help talk to your guests?
George is more than help. He's family, and he's right. You're not going to break my window during this blizzard of the century and have us all freeze to death.
Well, if I can't leave, then I refuse to stay in the same room with any of these people.
But do you think it wise to split up, dear?
If we all light some candles and sit here in a circle by the doorway, no one else would get murdered. Probably.
Ah, yes. Have us all sit around in a circle like dullards holding candles. Suppose it can't be worse than your summer gala 51V?
No, that certainly will not do. Look, everyone, I understand what has transpired tonight is unsettling, to say the least, but we will not let a little death ruin our celebration of life. Understood?
The guests weren't certain what the proper protocol was in this particular scenario, but they imagined themselves sitting like dullards in a circle with candles and decided that definitely should not be it. Instead, they pattered back into the party room and resumed their evening.
Suit yourselves.
Roger gestured wildly as the guests ignored him and filed back in.
Veronica, perhaps it would be best if I could get Roger a cold shower.
Agreed. The guest bathroom upstairs has fresh towels. Help yourself.
Veronica watched her husband soothe the crowd with his musical tunes, but her attention was quickly caught by Barbra, who was smoothing out Olivia's dress.
You look beautiful as always, my dear.
Oh, thank you, Miss DuPont.
Oh, don't Miss DuPont me. You know better. Call me Barbra. And do come visit my twins again soon. They love you so.
Barb, darling, wasn't expecting to see you here tonight.
Why would you? Seeing my invitation got lost in the mail? Luckily, Mr. Egley had a +1.
And so very glad you made it. Sorry, I haven't been able to sit with you properly yet this evening. As you know, it's been a bit of a whirlwind since everyone arrived.
That's one way to describe it.
Don't even worry about it, my dear. It's such a madhouse here. I'm surprised anything is even going right at all.
Yes, well, there have been some unexpected setbacks.
But aren't there always? At least with your parties. Why, I remember your birthday last year. What was it? Your 40th?
Veronica cracked a smile so stiff her teeth almost buckled under the pressure.
39th.
Oh, but who's counting? Right, Mama?
Only those it matters to, I suppose.
Speaking of counting, 2 murders at a party has got to be some sort of record.
Don't forget about the possible murderer still loose in the house.
Olivia, stop that.
She's right, Veronica. No one ever checked that magician's pulse, did they? For all you know, he could have pulled a ruse on us all.
That's what I said.
Of course you did, sweetheart. You've got a brain in you.
But if he was still alive, how did he get out of that room?
Maybe someone let him out.
All right, that's enough from both of you. Please keep your wild speculations to yourself. We must keep spirits high.
Tell that to your serving staff, will you? They're a bit stingy on the refills.
Olivia, please tell George we need more drinks now. And Barb, if you'll excuse me a moment.
Take your time, dear. I know you need it.
Veronica combed the crowd and found her hired fortune teller an ageless man in thick eyeliner and purple sequenced garb. She needed guidance, and she needed it fast.
Gypsy! Oh, Gypsy man!
She made her way over to him, but before she could say another word, he held up one of his tarot cards. On it was a skeleton holding a scythe atop a stallion. The words in big black bold print beneath it, death.
Relax, kitten. It just means transformation is coming.
Hopefully to this party.
Come, let's go talk about it.
Meanwhile, in the kitchen, the maid frantically organized hors d'oeuvres and champagne flutes, while the chef hovered over her shoulder.
The pâté should be a mousse, not a sludge. You'll break the cracker just trying to spread it on. How much sherry did you add?
Sherry?
Unbelievable. What is even the point of you? I ask you to help me, and you end up making my job 10 times harder.
I told you, I'm not a cook.
And I am not a maid, yet here I am, cleaning up your mess.
The chef plucked an hors d'oeuvre from another platter. She took a bite and grimaced at the taste.
What the hell is this?
Beef Wellington?
What did you do to it?
Poured the sauce on, like you said.
How much? It's drowning in Worcestershire. You can barely taste the beef.
William entered wearing a look of concern. The chef was gesturing wildly with her large knife as the maid desperately dodged out of its reach.
Easy, easy now. What exactly is the problem here, Chef?
The problem, Mr. Billings, is that there are twice as many guests here than at last year's event. And Mrs. Billings ignored my request to hire additional kitchen staff. So now, it's just me and this nitwit taking care of all the food.
I'm doing my best.
William clasped her hand.
Yeah, I suppose you are.
I'm sorry. I'm just not very good at cooking. Never have been.
Oh, Beatrice, what you lack in kitchen expertise, you make up for in loyalty and servitude, the likes of which Mrs. Billings and myself are eternally grateful for.
He took the chef's hand in his other.
Both of you need to work together. You know how important this event is to my wife. Find a way to solve whatever little squabble you have going on between you. And for Pete's sake, get these folks more drinks. We need to help everyone else relax.
I'll toss out this abomination of an appetizer.
Don't be ridiculous. I didn't rescue my daughter from a West African famine just to have food thrown out in my very own home.
It's inedible.
Then try serving it with a lot more champagne. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a party to make sure no one else dies at.
After he left, the chef gave the maid a most undesirable look. She drove her large butcher knife into the chopping block.
Just put it in the fridge, and I'll come up with something else and find a way to fix that later.
The maid did as she was told, as usual. And speaking of being told, back in the party room, Veronica's disposition was lifted by her fortune forecast.
So you're saying this night may still turn around?
I'm not. The cards are.
Ah! What wonderful news.
Veronica paused her excitement when she spotted Esther across the way, sulking into a plate of charcuterie.
I do wish there was something we could do for our friend Esther. Gypsy, perhaps you could give her a bit of a boost.
I can only tell her what
the cards tell you, right, yes, of course.
She led the fortune teller over to where Esther was sitting sadly.
Oh, come now, don't cry. The food isn't that bad.
Her quip was met with quiet.
I know these circumstances aren't ideal, and I'm truly sorry for your loss. But when the telephone lines are working again, we'll call the police and get all this sorted out. I promise you that. But the best thing you can do right now is keep taking care of yourself.
You're right. I did try to have a little nosh, but I'm so nauseated.
How about a slice of cake? I can steal you a piece from the dessert tray.
I wish, but I haven't eaten eggs since Muffy Gainsborough's Thanksgiving soiree.
that strange affair where she only served Caesar salads because Tony Curtis said it was the new Hollywood thing?
Yes, and then I ate one and my throat blew up like a big red balloon.
Wait, that was from eggs?
Well, that's what Dr. Daniel said, and I thought, that's ridiculous! I've been eating eggs my entire life. He said maybe that there was something about them being raw?
Well, that's what you want to hear a doctor say. Maybe.
But Joseph, he rushed to get the doctor. He saved me. My husband, he saved me.
Veronica waved over the fortune teller who was still waiting patiently.
Here's an idea. How about for now, we get your mind off the past, and the nice gypsy here will tell you the future.
Veronica gazed eagerly at Esther, who looked around at all the other guests managing to have a good time. She shrugged.
I suppose.
Excellent.
All right, honey. Let me get you all set up.
While that began, the maid circulated around the party carrying a measly vegetable tray. Veronica made a beeline for her, staring at the spread incredulously.
Beatrice, what on earth is this?
Just a little something the chef whipped up.
This rabbit food was not to be circulated during dinner. Where's the second course? My grilled meat, my fingerling potatoes.
Right, well, there was a slight issue with the...
Another issue. Why am I not surprised?
Ma'am,
Excuse me?
I meant Mrs. Billings.
Mrs. Billings grabbed the maid's arm firmly and quickly led her out of the room. Meanwhile, across the way, William was holding court with James Egley, a former silent film star.
You know how it started? With those damn talkies. They told us that vaudeville was forever and people would move on from this noise fad. But it never happened.
Yes. I remember sneaking into the theater to see the jazz singer when I was just a teen.
Overrated. Movies used to be a social experience. You went out with the purpose of being with your fellow neighbors, feeling the raw talent of the actors before you together. Now all the audience wants to do is escape, be alone in their own world.
The world changes, Egley, my boy. Best we adapt and change with it.
Reading a bit of Darwin lately?
Have you seen our library? I'm on track to read every single one of those books before I die.
Better than selling out to those newfangled television sets. Yet another thing isolating all of us and ruining this industry. This industry that used me up and spat me out. Left me to dry in the sun like the carcass of a disregarded cow. Nay, a mother cow. Her udders laid bare for the vultures to peck. Her bloody flesh merely a remnant of what was, signifying not the life that once stirred within it, but only the exposed bones that remain.
James Egley's monologue had garnered the gazes of a few guests. He bowed intensely.
Thank you, adoring fans. Thank you.
Look at that. They still love you.
You know, it wouldn't have been so terrible either, if it not for this whole Red Scare.
How do you figure?
In the last 20 years, all I've gotten were bit parts. I'm no longer the funny man who wins over the heart of the gruff widow, but a passerby who spills his coffee. Not a brilliant scientist with a cabinet full of secrets, but a train conductor whose only lines are, "All aboard!" But I knew I could do more, and I was ready. And then all of a sudden, this McCarthy fellow comes along and says I'm carrying some sort of card that makes me un-American. I tell you, I could have made my comeback were it not for him.
He completely destabilized the American people, tried to turn us against our friends and family, but it was our unification that gave us the strength to overcome it.
I just wish there was something I could do to restore my good name.
Joe McCarthy is out. Give the people some time, and eventually everyone will forget about this whole blacklist thing.
Tell that to Dalton Trumbo. I hear he still has to make up a new name every time he writes a script.
Now, I may be a small-town boy, but if I know anything about Hollywood, it's that the only way people will think you're a star is if you shine the brightest. You remind them what they're missing, and don't take no for an answer.
Damn it, Bill, you're right! What an excellent motivator you are. You're not thinking of becoming an actor, are you?
I wouldn't dream of it.
Cheers!
The two men downed their drinks.
What is this, Jameson? William, you've got money. Where do you keep the good stuff?
Man, you know I'm not one to overindulge.
Oh, come on. No one else has to know.
All right, fine. You caught me. I've got a bottle of something good stashed in the library. I'll fetch us some.
I await with bated breath.
And make sure Roger doesn't find out. He's been begging me to break this up for months, but he's all about quantity, not quality. It would simply be wasted on him.
Not to worry, William. For once, my lips are sealed.
Back by the fortune teller, a crowd had started to gather around he and Esther.
So that card says that we're gonna find out who did this?
The Justice card don't lie, honey.
The fortune teller flipped another.
Ace of Wands. That means there's creation in your life.
I'm an old maid. I think I'm past that point of creation in my life, if you know what I mean.
Never said it was a physical creation.
Well, that just sounds like nonsense.
It could also mean some sort of inheritance.
Like from my husband?
Are you expecting one from someone else?
Of course not! Not that I was expecting one from my husband either. I mean, we have our wills and such, so I guess you could say technically I was, but not like this. Not so soon. Not even at all. I mean, if I had died first, which I wasn't planning on either, I wasn't planning on anyone dying, I don't even know what's going on, all right?
Oh no. This reversed 9 of Swords.
Which means?
Shame.
The maid returned to the party bearing a fresh round of champagne and even fresher bruises on her arm. The butler took note and approached.
Better cover up.
The maid followed the butler's eyeline to her exposed forearm. She quickly pulled down her sleeve.
It's not as bad as it looks.
So you've said before.
Look,
Beatrice, no one is more aware than I of the lengths we are willing to go in order to protect this family. But we mustn't ever forget to protect ourselves.
George, I assure you, it's all right.
Who's to say it will be next time?
Unbeknownst to both the maid and the butler, Olivia had been listening behind them.
Miss, I assure you, you need not concern yourself with such matters.
What else do you suggest I do? Trot around like a show pony? I'm sure my mother would love that.
Miss Olivia, your mother only...
Yes, please explain my mother's behavior to me, Beatrice. I beg of you.
She only wants you to be happy.
No, she only wants to control me.
I don't think that's true.
Why? Because I'm not covered in bruises?
Suddenly, from across the room...
I already said I didn't kill my husband.
No one is accusing you of that. All I said was that the card is next to a reversed Queen of Pentacles, which means that you held some suspicion over a particular event or person.
Well, I don't need a deck of cards to tell me how awful I feel about locking my husband in a room with a murderer.
That may be so, but this card was pulled from a pile that deals with your past. Was there something else before your husband died?
No! And you know what? Why don't you ask anyone else questions about their personal life, huh? I don't appreciate being singled out like this. If you're gonna talk about my business, you better talk about everyone else's too.
Look, honey, I'm just doing my...
You're a liar! Did someone put you up to this? Oh, you're from the bank, aren't you?
Veronica returned to the room just in time to catch the cacophony of voices reacting to Esther's outbursts.
All right, that's enough entertainment for Esther now. Where is the... Beatrice? George? Where is the goddamn food?
She downed her glass of champagne as the maid rushed over with the paltry remnants of a shrimp cocktail spread.
Shrimp? You're trying to serve me shrimp?
Oh, Oh dear, that's my mistake. I'm so terribly sorry. I didn't mean to offend.
And yet here you are, continuing to do so. Why don't you return to the kitchen and tell the chef that I'd like the meal we planned to finally start making the rounds, if that's all right with her.
Right away. Pardon me.
Esther, we just need to get a little food in you and you'll be right as rain.
Who can even eat at a time like this? My husband is dead! And not only was I accused of his murder, but also by a male gypsy in women's makeup.
Now this, dear Veronica, is a party.
Please, Barbra, now is not the time.
What? The party is not the right time to talk about the party? Curious?
You know what I mean.
Perhaps. But what I don't know is why you keep that disaster of a maid around. Look at this place. It's a mess.
She may not be the most efficient, but she's the daughter of William's old employer, who he was very close to.
Ah, so she's here because of William.
I'm not sure what you're implying, Barbra, but Beatrice has helped both William and I immensely. Why, when Olivia reached her troubling early teen years, Beatrice was absolutely invaluable. She is and has always been an integral part of this family. She would do anything for us.
Anyone would do anything for anybody if they got paid well enough.
You can't buy loyalty.
Sure you can. I do it all the time. But I'm glad you tread such moral high ground. It's truly refreshing to see. Some of us have to be the good girl, right?
I do try my best.
And how very hard you try. Why, just minutes ago, Olivia and I were having a grand old time discussing your remarkable tenacity.
Well, I'm glad to hear my daughter is finally enjoying the party.
It didn't take all that much, V. In fact, if you want, I can give you a few pointers.
The lights began to flicker, and the guests started eyeing one another, unsure if the impending blackout would be their last. When the storm once again reduced the house to darkness, a shattering echoed throughout the room.
Thank you for listening. We're going to share a preview of Chapter 3 after this quick word from our sponsors.
Okay, listen, MeUndies are the softest, most comfortable underwear you'll ever wear. For a limited time, get 20% off your first pair plus free shipping at MeUndies.com/deadly. That's MeUndies.com/deadly.
This episode is brought to you by TheBlackTux.com. You guys, don't think about it twice. If you have an event to go to, this is the place to rent a tux or a suit. To get started now and for $20 off your first order, go to TheBlackTux.com/deadly. That's TheBlackTux.com/deadly.
Coming up in Chapter 3.
Oh my god!
War. Triumph. Vengeance.
Did you love him?
What? No.
We can't hide it forever.
Cards don't lie. People do.
Chapter 3 of Deadly Manners is available now on Sundance Now and Shudder. For a free 30-day trial on both sites, you can use the offer code DEADLY. Chapter 3 will be available on iTunes and all podcasting apps on Tuesday, October 10th. Also, Ali Garfinkel, the head writer and co-creator of Deadly Manners, and I are doing a Deadly Manners behind-the-scenes podcast. That'll come out later today. Thank you so much for listening.